I'm Alex Summers, I work at Cambridge University Botanic Garden and I'm the glasshouse supervisor. We've had a really exciting couple of days actually. So one of our Titanariums has bloomed. We've only previously bloomed a Titanarium twice in our history, so this is our third plant to flower. We've got two plants, so this plant has flowered twice, and we realised in late May that we had a bud developing. We weren't too sure at that point whether it was going to be a leaf or a flower, and then really excitingly on the 13th of June we were able to confirm that that was a flower, and for the past 13, 14 days we've been following that, measuring it daily, and on the 26th of June it opened. The flower in itself, well, it's not actually a flower, it's a large flowering structure, is horrendous smelling. So everyone who's come in will have seen essentially a large leaf-like structure cupping a huge column in the centre. At the very base of that column are the male and female flowers. The female at the very bottom, then we have the male flowers, and then we have the big top of that sterile column. That sterile column pumps a horrendous scent throughout the surrounding environment, and it's also thermogenic, so it can produce heat, which means that it can spread the volatiles even further. That scent is there to attract in carrion beetles, so it acts as a carrion mimic. The beetles obviously arrive expecting to find a piece of rotting meat onto which they would lay their eggs, but instead are duped to stick around, hopefully turning up with a bit of pollen from another flower that's duped them, and then they scrabble around, stick around for the next couple of days, so that by the second night when it's male and it's producing its pollen, they're covered in pollen, and then it cuts the scent, it cuts the heat, and it expects them to disappear off and hopefully find another inflorescence. So we've cut a window at the very bottom of the structure that allows us to reach the female flowers. We really want to do that because we wanted to pollinate it. We took the pollen that we got up from the Eden project, so they flowered one last week, and we also had pollen sent down from Edinburgh, which has been kept at -80 since their flowering 2 years ago. And we used a paintbrush and we scrambled it all around the structure. It's very difficult for us to act like the beetle and reach right down to the bottom because there's that huge column structure in the centre takes up so much space in the flower. And now, being on the third day, everything's happened. So kind of all that structure's going to do now is slowly wither and disappear. And if we've been successful, what we should hopefully see is on top of that stalk, we should see fruits develop. So if people are familiar with Lords and Ladies or Jack in the Pulpit that you see in your average back garden hedge, we're essentially going to see the same fruiting structure they would see there, but on steroids. We've had lots and lots of visitors through, and we've opened late, but now we're coming to the end of that whole experience. So we expect the flower probably to stand for maybe 1 to 2 more days, and then unfortunately the whole thing will just wither away, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be left with fruits in the coming 3 months. So we've been asked quite regularly, when do people expect to see it again? When do we expect to see it flower again? And what we know is that because Tiny flowered 2 years ago, and that tuber is now really, really small, and because this one has now flowered, and we expect if we get fruit, the tuber equally to be small, that it's going to take somewhere in the realms of 7 to 10 years for us to get back to a stage where we'll be flowering one again.